Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got an interesting show set up for you. Oh, yeah. Finebaum has ripped into Harbaugh in Michigan. He is not a happy camper. And we've also got to continue to cover the sign stealer guy. The head coach of Central Michigan has named him such, and we're going to get into all that. Ooh, Paul Finebaum's not happy. He is not happy at all with one Jim Harbaugh. And we're going to get into that and all these other things. First thing we got to talk about, of course, Paul Finebaum and Jim Harbaugh, and this was actually on X with On3, and it says Paul Finebaum calls it inexcusable. The Big Ten has not punished Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. 2 weeks ago, I sat here with you and made the biggest mistake of my professional career. I gave Jim Harbaugh the benefit of the doubt. Never again. He says this is a disgusting story with every revelation, which happens every single day of the week. And the fact the Big Ten has not done anything yet is inexcusable. So obviously, Paul Finebaum's not feeling love right now, and he is not happy with one Jim Harbaugh. And of course, you know, we've been following this story. Basically, you've got signs being stolen by Connor Stallions, was sort of the ringleader of all this, and he had his minions running around all over the country covering teams that they might have to face. Of course, they would in the Big Ten, so they went and covered all those guys and got their signs of allegedly. And they also got signs of the University of Tennessee.
How dare you!
One of the reasons why I'm covering this, because that's my team. And also Clemson, and I think they got some others as well. Teams they were concerned about that might could jump them in the playoff, especially if they lost to Ohio State. And of course, you know, they went into that game. I assume they had their signs too. So this thing has been just a huge ordeal. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest stories in the history of college football, in my opinion, because it's so crazy. And just recently, we'd heard that his contract had been rescinded, but now Michigan's saying that's not necessarily the truth, that they're trying to hurry up and get an extension signed with him. However, my understanding is there's going to be verbiage in that contract that dictates that the NCAA investigation can affect that contract, which probably gives them an out. But anyway, I actually got accused of jumping the shark. I had a viewer that sent me a comment that said that, I was pulling the old jump the shark thing, and that other like Sports Illustrated that had reported that it wasn't true. And I remember that well. Yep, the Fonz jumped the shark. I guess they're saying I did that, which I'm fine. That was a great episode. And for you younger viewers, because it means that they're just doing anything to get views. So I got accused of jumping the shark. And for those of you that don't remember that episode, I remember it.
Remember?
And one of the other reasons I'm covering this so closely has to do with South Carolina, because there is reports, a person with direct knowledge, that Michigan had reached out, or at least Stallion and his minions had reached out to teams that were playing other teams that could get in the playoff, a.k.a. Tennessee and Clemson, for example. Well, who was playing Tennessee and Clemson towards the end of last year? One team in particular, and that was the Carolina Gamecocks. So needless to say, the fact that both Tennessee and Clemson, two top 10 teams, got beat by South Carolina, an extremely middle-of-the-road SEC team that had just come off 2 losses to Missouri and Florida, and it scored 16 total points in those 2 games, and then suddenly scored 9 straight touchdowns against Tennessee.
No way!
And then scored 31 points at Clemson, something they never beat Clemson at Clemson. They did that too. And now this year they're 2-6. And of course, on top of that, Carolina had their own little wristbands they were wearing against Tennessee that had plays on them. I guess you'd call it a little cheat sheet. Of course, they win that game. Then the following year, which was this year, they didn't use them, which is, why would you do it? It was successful for you last year. You beat a top 10 team. You come into Neyland, the one place you'd really, really need it. They didn't use them. I just find that extremely odd. So I don't know if South Carolina received information, but we're going to find out eventually.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
That's right. I want the truth. We're going to find that out. But anyway, not only is Finebaum upset, Central Michigan's coach, Jim McElwain, who used to be the coach at Florida, and I believe he was at Colorado State, and he's been a successful coach, he's not happy about the sign stealer guy. And this is a story that says Central Michigan coach addresses viral photos of sign stealer guy. And it says on Tuesday, photos of a man on the Central Michigan sideline, and we'll show you that. It says many fans and analysts identified the man as a disguised Connor Stalions, the figure at the center of Michigan's ongoing sign-stealing scandal. Jim McElwain addressed these viral photos during a recent press conference, and his response certainly didn't rule out the possibility that Stalions snuck onto the sideline.
Before we go any farther, we've obviously are aware of a picture floating around with the sign stealer guy. Our people are doing everything they can to get to the bottom of it. We're totally unaware of it. I certainly don't condone it in any way, shape, or form. I do know that his name was on none of the passes that were let out. Now we just keep tracing it back and try to figure it out. But it's in good hands with our people. There's no place in football for that.
So needless to say, he's not real happy about this situation, and it sure does look like Connor Stalions. It really, really does. It looks a lot like him. And this thing with Michigan, it's getting ugly. I don't see how he comes out of this. I really don't. And look, I know the Michigan people are going to go crazy in the comment section. Oh, well, he's going to get signed and this. Everybody does it. No, they don't. Not to this level. And I know it's hypocritical coming from a Tennessee Vol talking about cheating when it comes to what our Jeremy Pruitt did and the 2 years of grief we went through over that. But there's a big difference between $60,000 being handed out in various forms over 2 years than stealing everybody's signs. I mean, that's just un-American. You should not steal people's signs. I mean, honestly, comparing this to what Jeremy Pruitt did, it's just not a good comparison.
Bank robbing is baby shit alongside of what this dude is doing.
Yeah, it's baby crap. And look, we got hit with, a $12 million fine and 25 scholarships or whatever, which we've pretty much dealt with. We've still got a few scholarships to give up, but the $12 million, that's not going to kill us. But anyway, yeah, it's a little hypocritical, I'll admit, but not terribly. I think this is way worse. I just don't think you can go around stealing people's signs like this and go to the level that this Connor Stalions did. And I actually feel bad for the Michigan football faithful because they didn't ask for this. They've just been rooting for their team. They didn't know it. Nobody knew about this. Good grief. And it's unfortunate for them. They've had a couple of good years, but I strongly suspect those 2 good years were because of the sign stealing. That's just an opinion. We'll find out when they play Ohio State, man. I'm telling you, Ohio State's going to bring it. They have got to be just very angry, and I look forward to that game greatly. Who knows? Michigan might beat them. They're not going to have their signs, though. I can promise you that. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and the Michigan and Ohio, just all this stuff. SEC. I enjoy covering this type of stuff. And if you're not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit that little button right there. That would help me out. I'd appreciate it. And right over here's the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.